Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to continue with Python and see how loops work in Python. So let's get started and see how we could practically demonstrate the usage of the usage of loops within the Python language. So friends, let's see how we could use loops within Python language. The first kind of a loop we'll use is the while loop. So that's the first loop we'll use. And let's say I have, let's say 1, I start 1 is equal to 5, I is equal to 1. And then I'll say while I should be less than equal to whatever you want to do. So technically it is, I just want to go till 5. And then I just simply say print the value of I. A very simplistic loop. And then I just want to kind of increment it by 1. So it's an increment operator. I'm just gonna add 1 to the existing value of I. So let's try and see how this loop works and whether this works or not. So I'll just use Python 3 and I'll say loops.py. So it just gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's how like typically a normal loop that you would use in any other language. That's how it works. There could be another loop which is called as a for in loop. So that's how we can use this. So let's say we have a cities, an array of cities. Let's say Vancouver is there, and then we'll just use Toronto, and then we'll just use Calgary. So there are 3 cities in the form of an array. That's what it is. And then I just want to use that. So I'll say for x in, let's say, cities, and then I'll just want to print the value of x. Now what happens is x starts from cities array. It actually picks up the value which starts from 0, because the array value always starts from 0, then it is the index is 1 and then 2, and then it picks up 0, 1, 2. So automatically you don't have to specify any start or any end. We are not specifying any kind of increment operator out there, but still it works for us and it gets the values printed. So let's try running this and see how does this works. So let me clear my screen, and if I run this, so I get the first loop, and then there is a second loop which is Vancouver, Toronto, and Calgary. Now if I want to do the same thing, I could do like this also. So I'll say for y in, for example, I'll specify my name. Like I could specify anything, any variable also, but here I'm specifying my name. And then if I want to kind of print the value, so fundamentally if I say print y, what happens in this kind of a stuff is this whole representation of a string is exactly in the form of characters that are organized into the form of an array. So although it looks like a string, in fact it is a string, but fundamentally in detail it is actually being stored in the form of a number of characters joined together in the form of an array. So if I say y in this, it actually goes on to r, then o, then h, and then pick it up, and let's say it displays everything. So let's try running this one and see whether this gives us the desired result. Yes, you could see it picks up all the characters from here, then there is a space, and then it picks up all the characters out here also, which looks fine, and then it works for us. Okay, now let's go on to another kind of a loop. So for example, if I want to use a break statement, now break is a statement where I typically want to put a break within any kind of a loop, right? So I just want to kind of put a break if some condition is satisfied or something has happened, so I could utilize that. So let me utilize the break over here. Now within the cities, I say if, let's say x is equal to, I'll say let's say Toronto. So what happens is when I say if x is equal to Toronto, then I'll just simply say break. I just want to kind of break that, means I don't want to continue with that. So that's my break, and I just want to rest. Let's see how does it works for us. So now if I just run this, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get ROHIT, T hand, And then if x is equal to Toronto, let's see why did it print the value. So it says if x is equal to Toronto, oh, because we didn't print anything else, you just print the value of x. Okay, now let's try running it and let's see how does this works. So if we run this, so you get 1 2 3 4 5, you get Vancouver also because it just gets Vancouver. So if x is equal to Toronto, which was not because it was Vancouver, then it just printed the value. Else it's just gonna if it becomes Toronto, it just breaks it up, and that's all. That's where it actually finishes it off. Now you could use a continue also. A continue is more like where you say, okay, I don't want to kind of a break, but rather I want to use a continue. So now if you use this keyword rather than break, so what happens is it prints the first value, picks it up, Vancouver, prints it out. The second value is Toronto, which is matching over here in the if condition. So I just simply say, hey, just keep continuing with the loop. Don't stop it, don't print it. So Toronto would be skipped, and then the Calgary would also be printed. So if we now clear this and run this, so if you see, you get a Vancouver, you get Calgary. So that's how it works. So typically this is more likely an example of a continue or a break. Break means you break the loop and get out of it. Continue means you want to kind of skip that particular iteration and move to the next value. The next one is more likely, I would say, a range kind of using range within the loops. So let's say I'll simply say for t in, let's say, range, and I'll specify, let's say, 5. Now when you specify like this and you print the value of a t, now what we'll do is we'll just gonna close everything, so that will just keep our focus on this loop. So if I run this, now you would see I could use a range. Range automatically starts from 0. That's one of the most important things you need to remember. So it works like an index where you want to start. So it starts from 0 by default and then goes till 5 you have specified -1. So that's how it works. But you could also specify a range like this also. So you say for x in range and you specify 2 to, let's say, 6. Now if you do this and then you print x, now when I try to print this one, so what it does is, okay, let me just close this loop so that we can see that in a better way. So it starts from 2. So it means you definitely say, I want to start it from 2 rather than 0 or anything. But then it goes till 6, which is not exactly 6, rather 1 minus, as we have seen in the other loop also. So it actually works till 2 and then goes till 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you see the increment within the loop is always of the 1. So it is by default incrementing it by 1. But if I want to write a loop like this, so what I can do here is I can say for y in range, and let's say I'll say from 2, then you go till, let's say, 50, and then the increment is of, let's say, 2, and then you print, let's say, y. Now when you try to run this one, so let's try closing this loop so that we can focus on this one. Let's try run this one. So if you see, it starts from 2 because I've specified range 2. Then it goes, the increment is a value which is being specified as true. So it means you would have an increment of 2, 2, 2 addition in every iteration. And then it goes till 48 because it cannot go till 50. It has to be 49. But because 49 can't be there because we are specifying an increment of 2. So guys, this is how you could actually use loops within Python language. Simple loops or loops within arrays, or you could use ranges, or you could also use break and continue, some standard statements, and that actually helps you to write some kind of a logic where you process one record or multiple records, or even write some kind of an algorithm. Those are the basic building blocks. So thank you guys. I'll be coming back with more videos, so stay tuned, and if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe it, and have a good one. Thank you.